Hi Aquarius, welcome to your June 2017 love reading for single people. Now, Aquarius, if you are in a relationship, and maybe I shouldn't even say this because why would you be clicking on this if you were? But on the off chance that you are, I do have other readings for people in that situation already on my channel, so check it out. The other thing I wanted to say is that this is a general reading for every Aquarian on the planet. So as you can see, I'm going to get very specific to your situation. Obviously, I'm joking. If you'd like a private reading, and for my love readings, I use your natal chart, which is based on the moment that you came into this world, please click on the link below. Otherwise, this reading, you can see I already laid out the cards, and the reason was I'm starting over. No big, I had to stop it, and I figured it would be easier just to start over again. So, and I didn't get very far anyhow. The one thing before I begin is, I really think that for those that this message may apply, that it could be a very important time for you in terms of finding a new love partner. And I still haven't come up with my catchy title yet, attention-getting clickbait title, but it's going to be something along the lines of New Love Awaits You, something like that. Because the overall theme is actually the Ace of Pentacles. We have two aces, and one is the overall, and the other one is for the current energy. So when they're both aces, we know that we're dealing with beginnings here. I can see my camera is not focusing for some reason, which is unusual. But anyway, the Ace of Pentacles can also, you see there's a portal there, a doorway to walk through to a new phase in your life. And the overall theme of the Ace of Pentacles revolves around the idea of a new beginning in the form of financial support. So it could be a new job. And by the way, you see how it's depicted as it is with Pamela Coleman in the Rider-Waite deck. The clouds. This is the Morgan Greer deck, by the way. The clouds with a hand coming out of them. That indicates the universe supporting you financially. Sometimes it can indicate receiving money, receiving a loan, having a new job. And this is a new beginning in your life. Well, in a love reading, you're in a new job, you meet a new person on that new job. So I'm just drawn, this is not the typical way that I do things, but I'm drawn to the card below it, which is the spiritual message. That might be the mundane message, and the spiritual message is Six of Swords, going towards harmonious, moving towards harmonious circumstances or just situation. So we have a moving away and a new beginning. That is very, and we actually have the Death card right next to it. So it seems to me that for some of you, the transition is one door closes, another door opens. And when I say it closes, it may not be so much that it's closing, but you're closing the door. You're closing a door on a former situation. Being single doesn't always mean that you are not attached at all to another person. This is one of the reasons why I'm still not decided whether or not I'm going to do these readings separate every month, where I, instead of just having one love reading as I normally do, because I think that love and relationships are not, that single people and people in committed relationships are really no different. Even if you're single, you could be dealing with an ex, or you could be pining away for somebody from the past. So to say that we are single implies that we are without any kind of a history or any ties to anybody, and that's not necessarily the case. And so I see some of you, for some reason, there are new beginnings. In the past position, we have the Nine of Swords. Now, this could be a person who was in your life who tormented you. A Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and you're an Aquarius. So, you know, out of the three, who do I think would torment you the most? I don't know. But by the way, this is the number 6 connects to Venus, so maybe it was a Libra individual. Whoever, whatever is happening, you felt anxiety. Maybe it was financial anxiety. Maybe it has nothing to do with your love life, and you got a new job, and you're going to have a new love come into your life. That's, you know, if you want to put it that way, because this is a card specifically connected to matters of the heart, because it is the cups, it is the water energy. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces could be one of those signs, or somebody with a lot of water in their chart. But you might have been going away from an air sign and into the arms of a water sign individual. But this could just simply mean that you have found someone that you really love, not somebody that you feel was a burden to you in some way. This is a beautiful card. Not only the illustration, but what it stands for, because it stands for matters of the heart, and it also stands for, I think, even like news of a pregnancy, and something like that. But we have a number of cards here that talk about endings and beginnings and love, you know. So what has been going on with your life thus far? If you're watching this in May, what is happening right now? Those cards on the top may be speaking of things that have yet to come, although the Nine of Swords may be something that you can relate to as being, you know, since it's supposed to be a past experience. But the thing is that the Six of Swords in general can also speak of actual physical relocation. So for some people, you may be relocating for a new job, and then all this stuff starts to happen for you. And you may have felt a sense of anxiety about your life prior to this life change. Aquarius is a fixed sign. Okay, so regardless of your very visionary way of thinking, you're ahead of your times, you still like predictability in a lot of ways. Even though you can be very unpredictable yourself, you still like things to around you to not necessarily change. And when you're faced with transition in your life, you can be like all the other fixed signs, like Scorpio, like Taurus, and like your opposite sign, Leo. And you can be very uncomfortable with these new experiences as much as you may embrace them on a different level. So it's a matter of sometimes things happening beyond your control for you to, you know, get nudged into taking action. Fixed signs are more of the preserving the status quo, but we need all of the different modes. You know, we need the cardinal signs to be the initiators. We need the fixed signs like Aquarius to be the builders, and we need the mutable signs like Sagittarius to be the people who are flexible enough to do what is needed in that moment. And so as a fixed sign, you have to learn how to go with the flow more, and if there are changes, to accept them. The card which crosses you is the Strength card, which actually is connected to Leo. So for those people who are dealing with a Leo person, maybe this was the person from your past, but there may be that person may be trying to get you back, and you don't want to be with that person. You might find them too possessive. You might find them too demanding. And you may have moved on, but they haven't. But as the strength in reverse, it could be a situation of feeling overwhelmed. Maybe it's physical, like maybe you have, your immune system doesn't feel what it normally is. And of course, under stress, the immune system can sometimes be compromised. So it's important in cases, if you have changed your life in radical ways, it's important to take extra good care of yourself, where you're getting to bed earlier than maybe you have been, so that you don't have adrenal burnout, or, just things along those lines, the obvious things, but the things that people don't necessarily do because they're so consumed with whatever's happening. The Nine of Swords can indicate insomnia, but it's situational sometimes. If you're really upset about something that has happened, or that you fear is going to happen, or that you fear is not going to happen, that can definitely wear you down, the stress from that. So it's not crazy to feel the way that you feel. It's the only thing about it is that you have to realize that this too shall pass. And if the other thing too is that for some people, if you were in a prior relationship that really took a lot out of you, you may even feel a sense of lack of self-esteem. And that may be due to a person who was not kind to you, and who got it into your head. And if that's the case, the thing is, you have to learn that time will take care of that. It's like, this would be more, I think, of a recent event that has happened to you. And you have a lot of wonderful new beginnings. So focusing on them instead of the past is probably the best advice I can give you. What is coming in, and I think already is indicated by this, is transition. And these are things that you can't control, so you have to simply observe. And this is where why meditation can be so helpful. Because a lot of times when things happen to people, they think they have to react to them in order to really cope or deal with it. And reaction is never the way to deal with things that have come about. It's action, not reaction. Now, reaction is going to tend to be an emotional response. Emotions are irrational. And a lot of Aquarians know this inherently. And so you're not necessarily someone who embraces your emotions or that of other people. So, but you have emotions. You're a human being. So you have emotions like anyone else. You may sublimate them, but you're still experiencing them on a cellular level. So the real thing is to observe. And this is like a form of meditation where you just look at things. You try not to judge them, even if they're happening to you and they seem to be very, very important. And, we almost feel obligated to generate some kind of emotions. Like if you were handed a pink slip at work and you just said thank you, that would feel weird, because we feel like we're obligated to almost go into this negative mindset, almost like an honor of our life or something, instead of really seeing that the universe decided to step in and do something on our behalf. Maybe we wanted to leave a job, but as soon as we got a pink slip, all of a sudden it was the greatest job in the world, and why did it have to go? And it's only, and then you panic, and it's only like a year later, after you're working someplace else and you have much more harmony, and your boss is somebody who appreciates you and shows their appreciation, or you're working for yourself and you feel much more in control of your life, maybe you're even making more money, that you stop and think, thank God this happened. Sometimes it can take 5 years, you know. Sometimes it really seems like you've had a setback for, you know, depending on how long you're willing to hold on to something and how out of touch you are with your true self, it can really take a long time. I mean, that happened to me as well. And I have Taurus rising, so I have fixed energy in one of my important points. And it took a really long time to process all of that. But it happened, and when it happened, now I look at that situation, I have a totally different way of looking at it. You know, this was a particular work situation. For you, this could be a relationship. And you may mourn the loss of this thing and even maybe trying to get that person back on some level, or at least hoping that it comes back. But it's really saying that it's irrevocable. It's an ending that is meant to be. And having peace with this ending is actually the secret. But you can't do it until you really feel it. So it would just be kind of like going through the motions until you were really, really feeling that on a deep level. But that's okay. Go through the motions. At least try to find something that feels good about it. And, you know, once you get there, then you feel that sense of stability again within yourself. The Nine of Swords is a feeling of a lot of angst. And that's not how you want to go through life. You want to feel very calm. You are a Swords, okay? But the Nine of Swords is a card of thinking too much. And your thoughts, it's like, what's that condition in the body where the body attacks itself? An autoimmune condition. The body is attacking itself. Well, the mind, it's like an autoimmune disease of the mind, where the mind starts attacking itself with its own thoughts. The outcome is the Lover's card. Well, you know, mic drop. See you later, guys. No, I'm just kidding. This card obviously could mean that you fall in love, you know, right underneath the Ace of Cups. So it seems pretty clear that for those people that are willing to let go of the need to control the changes that are happening around them, there is a love partner that might be right there. Another thing that the Lover's card relates to is a choice that needs to be made for some people. Who knows? It could be about whether or not to go, as indicated by the Six of Swords, whether or not you need to move, whether or not to take a new job. Maybe you've recently met someone and you have a job offer and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I've been single for 3 years and now I meet somebody right when I'm supposed to leave. Sheesh, you know? And the Death card is saying that your life is undergoing transition. So you can't stop the avalanche. You can't stop it. You can't stop the river from flowing. You have to go with the flow. If somebody is your true love, they're going to be there, no matter what. The Lover's card is also about intimacy, bearing one's soul, even though they're bearing their bodies. It's really about bearing your soul, not being too remote. You know, maybe you in the past have guarded yourself by being friendly. That's the typical ploy of an Aquarian. I have Venus in Aquarius. Everybody's friend, but whose lover? Who's, you know, who do you show your vulnerability to? And talk about your your fears, your regrets, if you have any, and your hopes. You know, you rule the 11th house of hopes and wishes. And so if you're looking for love, you may find it, but it's really not about getting love. It's about keeping love. And one way you do that is by being the kind of person that others feel they know. I'm talking about the person, the significant other. You don't have to tell everyone your life story, but if you don't tell anyone your life story, people will not understand you on a deep level. And you're kind of a hard one to understand sometimes. You're kind of a tough nut to crack, Aquarius. You know, you're kind of quirky or very quirky. So some people don't know where you're coming from. And if you tell someone, if you trust enough someone, you may have the kind of love that you're looking for. The other thing is with the Lover's card is maybe it's timing issues. In the time of Gemini, the sun will be there most of the month. We have a new moon in Gemini on May 25th. So if you're watching this before then, maybe that'll be a turning point in your love life. So June seems like very eventful for some of you Aquarians out there, and I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.